Time being 7 p.m., all members of the planning board being present, call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda, agenda item A, approval of minutes from our October 21st, 2024 meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for October 21st, 2024.
I have
Second.
a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries.
And then there's an abstain. That wasn't at the...
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So 4-1 with an abstention. All right. Moving on to agenda item B, committee reports and administrative actions. B1, committee reports. Any committee reports any members wish to make at this time?
All set, Mr. Chairman. All set.
Seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item B2, which is the town planners report. Ms. Lauder?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Scheduled for the next meeting on December 16th, we have two new public hearings scheduled. One is for 821 Main Street for a special permit, and the other is for 1628 and 1636 Shawshene Street for site plan review, special permit, and a land disturbance permit. Next item of note, a reminder that the Tewksbury Community Market is holding indoor markets at the Senior Center this winter at 175 Chandler Street. We had a very successful pilot season last year, so we have expanded it to 4 total months. It began last Thursday, the 14th, and will continue on Thursday, December 12th, January 9th, and February 13th. This time it'll still be 4 to 7 p.m. and will feature many of the same summer market vendors that we saw down on Livingston Street. Last week we saw about 300 visitors, which is really exciting. And folks can visit tewksburymarket.com for more details. And last item of note, the town is launching a social media campaign to highlight restaurants in town, being the first restaurant week that we've had. It'll start on Saturday, November 30th in honor of Small Business Saturday and run through Saturday, December 7th. This first ever restaurant week is an opt-in program offered at no charge to Tewksbury food establishments. It's an opportunity to highlight these establishments, show off specials and meal deals, and promote area restaurants as we get closer to the holiday season. Restaurant features will be posted on the town's social media pages starting on Saturday, November 30th, and a complete list of restaurants is available on the town website, and I've included the flyer for the event for you folks as well.
All right.
Great.
All right, that brings us to agenda item B3, 2025 meeting calendar. Everybody have a chance to take a look at it? Anybody have any conflicts they're aware of that they want us to address? Seeing none, I'll just indicate that since we have an October 6th meeting, someone brings cake for me, but other than that, we're fine. So with that, I'll take a motion to approve our 2025 calendar.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, we approve the 2025 Planning Board meeting calendar.
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Moving to agenda item B4, Scenic Drive, approval not required plan. Do we have, okay. Once you get settled, just give your name for the record and just let us know what you're doing, and then we'll go from there.
My name is Troy Stearns of Civil Design Consultants Incorporated on behalf of the applicant and owner, Robert and Jennifer Palomino. I'm here today regarding an application of endorsement of a plan believed not to require approval for properties located at 10 and 20 Scenic Drive, located in the R40 zoning district. The purpose of this application was to reconfigure the interior lot line shared by 10 and 20 Scenic Road to allow future construction, including a swimming pool on 20 Scenic Drive and a potential residence on 10 Scenic Drive. Currently, a single-family residence occupies 20 Scenic Drive. We note that neither lot satisfies Section 5.3.1.A.2 of the zoning bylaw, which prohibits construction on any lot that does not have an area in which a circle, the diameter of which 80% of the minimum lot frontage, tangent to the lot frontage, and within all other lot lines. The specific portion of this bylaw was enacted after the subdivision was approved by the board in 2015. Since these lots contain a pre-existing nonconformity to this section, we believe this change is consistent with the intent stated in Section 5.3.8.3, as we are not creating a nonconformity or increasing the degree of nonconformity. We can confirm our plans comply with all other dimensional requirements for the R40 zone district. I now invite the board to ask any questions or express any other concerns.
Well, thank you for that invitation. I'll start with Mr. Ciampa.
I reviewed the plans, and, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, so no questions here, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lozada?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just to confirm, on 10 Scenic Drive, it doesn't make it any worse than it currently is right now?
Correct.
Does it? Okay. That's my only question.
Mr. Fattalia?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I mean, I was on the board when we reviewed these plans and the design, and it was endorsed as a approved subdivision back in the day, and 3 lots, and I just see we're just moving lines, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so, no problem, I'm all set, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Duffy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one more time, just explain to me the 150-foot radius frontage.
The 150-foot radius, no changes made to the frontage on either properties. 150 feet forward to Lot 1A and 155 to Lot 2A.
Okay,
Does that answer your question?
yeah. I have no further comment on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Nor does the chair. I'll entertain a motion to endorse the approval not required plan.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we endorse the A&R as proposed for 20 Scenic Drive.
All right.
Second.
A motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item B5, 30 East Street, remand decision confirmation. So I'll give a little, in case anybody cares, I'll do it anyways. This is an item that has come back in relation to a court case. We had a discussion in executive session. The purpose of this is to simply, in a public setting, just reiterate what we already did in our executive session, so that this matter can go back to the court and continue to be resolved there. It is not a public hearing item. It's in our administrative actions. Therefore, no additional information, testimony, or anything like that will happen here. So with that, I will open it up with the board for any comments. Mr. Lazardi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an accurate representation of what we talked about in the executive session. I have no other comments.
Mr. Champa?
Same.
Mr. Duffy?
Same here, I have no
Mr.
further
Fratelli.
All
comment.
set.
The chair is all set as well, so I'll take a motion to endorse. What are we doing with this?
A motion to confirm the
Motion to confirm.
the revised language, yes.
All right, so motion to confirm as presented here this evening. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Hopefully, they will resolve this, and this will be the end of us seeing it. That brings us to Agenda Item C, 135 Lorem Street, special permit. Do I have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
A motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Do we have somebody here for 159? Once you're settled, just give your name to the record, and the floor will be yours.
How's it going? My name's Dan Marco. I own the Sterling Companies. This is Jonathan Vargas. He's our Director of Life Sciences. So I own a number of moving companies, commercial moving companies, who, we do the lab moves all around the greater Boston area.
Pull that a little
Sorry.
closer. Thank you.
Is that better? Due to our customers over the years asking us to expand our service offerings, we've been looking to expand into a more niche market for climate-controlled storage. We've been looking for the right building for a couple of years now, and we came across 159 Lorem Street. It's already lab grade in a number of ways. We're going to do some kind of modifications to the building, and I brought a blueprint if that would be helpful. But overall, we think that this building, 20,000 square feet, is perfect for what we're looking to accomplish to service the life sciences industry. And for that reason, we are seeking a special zoning permit. Happy to
right.
answer any questions.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Fratelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I reviewed the application, and I know you have enough parking spaces. My question is, how many people are you going to be having employed in the facility?
To start off, it'll be probably 5 in the building, and then we're going to grow into, we're looking to have a fleet of lab ops technicians who are hosted from there, and what they'll do is they'll go to these life sciences companies throughout New England, servicing using services like metrology, calibration, validation for all these larger companies who have millions of dollars worth of assets within their facilities who need this regular upkeep.
Okay,
And so overall, I would say we've been using 30 to 35 employees as a target.
okay. So no trucks coming into the facility at all, right?
Trucks coming in occasionally.
So not a big call for traffic coming in? That was my concern.
No, because we have a number of buildings in the New England area. We have 8 buildings, which are more of your stereotypical moving and storage type operation. We don't see the need for heavy traffic of trucks going into that area. It's more so we have a truck where we could bring up to 8 -80 freezers in at a time, because you can plug in with 2 power systems, redundant power systems. And that's kind of the niche we want to get into, is being able to keep -80s at temperature in transit, which there aren't very many options for in the market right now.
Okay, good. Yeah, I look forward to you guys coming into town. So with that, I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Champa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could you give me a little more detail about the assets you'd be storing?
Sure. For that, I'll defer over to our expert here, Jonathan.
Just for record, Jonathan Vargas, Director of Life Science. A lot of the assets that are being brought in at this stage is going to be primarily focused, starts warehouse only. We do not expect to do any actual sample management directly. So what we're expecting to bring in today will be assay plates, some cell plates, random DNA packaging of reagents, mRNA, so on and so forth, all these packaged and sealed for either long-term storage or distribution. Most of these items would be either raw materials prior or post-clinical manufacturing. Thus, we don't expect any direct handling of these items. This is essentially just a specialized storage spacing that will be monitored and controlled within the GMP setting. We do not expect much anything else other than raw materials and finished products.
Okay, thank you. I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So to kind of add on to Mr. Champa's question there, so what happens if you're minus 83 degrees? What happens if the power goes out? Like, are you guys talking about having a backup system over there that's going to support that type of refrigeration?
So we've got proposals now from 2 different construction companies. We're looking to make a decision by the end of the week on who we move forward with. The goal is to have a 400 kilowatt generator, which we would need to my understanding, apply for a permit for through the town. So that's on our to-do list, is to have a backup generator on site for that, so that we're prepared.
So, I mean, if everything failed, what happens to the stuff that's frozen, I guess, is the million-dollar question that I had concern.
If I may.
concern about.
Sure, yep.
So the system will be built around a redundancy of generator, like we said on site, with a roll-up generator bypass. This allows us to pretty much have a preset lease with companies such as CAT that'll allow us to, within 24 hours, get on site a priority generator as a backup. The system's being scaled with the concept of being able to run the facility at no outsource of power for a minimum of 24 hours through its own standalone, plus the generator that allows us to scale. That redundancy with the third-party roll-up allows us a tertiary space of backup. And there has been discussions with a couple other companies of other potentials on future expansions on redundancy. But following current market trend, this already meets, if not exceeds, most other biorepositories in the New England area.
Okay. Well, and like Mr. Fratelli said, we're glad to have you in town. And so my only other question is, and it's kind of probably a far-out question, is any biohazards, any of that type of concern?
Not at this stage. Anything that we would be bringing in would be meeting the highest standard of security to begin with, because it is necessary for the materials that we're bringing in. We're not expecting anything that you wouldn't find in a BSL-1 or BSL-2 standard lab. Most of these are really not that critical or hazardous. However, Obviously, there's always those risks and concerns, so a lot of the materials and the actual design of the facility is built around ensuring that there's bulwarks to protect anything from ever stepping outside of that facility that is not under somebody's control. We also have partnered with a company called Triumvirate that helps us ensure that all of our safety measures in place meet all standards.
Okay, sounds great to me. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Lazardi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just to confirm, the only external changes y'all are making, it looks like fencing, lighting, and maybe some spots for potential generators?
Yes, at this moment, the space that is present next to the facility, we don't have anything deemed to be used for it, other than securing it, potentially having a couple trailers or whatnot present there for long-term storage. Generator will probably be the biggest piece, at least for the foreseeable future.
I think that's all the questions I have.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add. I will say, we make, the note was made in here, Ms. Louder, that the parking spaces on site are, the lining is faded. I don't know how much of it is faded, and I don't know at what point you'll be ramped up to your full staffing, but I would probably say that, if sooner rather than later, have the lot painted, but if you're gonna get, as you're getting closer to the full staff, you're definitely gonna have to have it done.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
That's actually, if I may, that's actually been accounted for in the contracts that we have with the company that we'll be implementing. So as we decide what the final design of the building, if any other changes that might about, because the generator location might change, that'll depend where we'll be doing those markings. So that's the only thing we're waiting on.
We want to paint the exterior as well, because the brand, we want to have a high-level brand for the service we're providing. We want this to really be a top-notch building.
What is the sight line of this from the
Sorry?
street? What's the sight of this building from the street?
There really isn't. So
isn't, right?
if you are taking the turn next to Shalott Tire through the signalized intersection, you have to go all the way through and come in off of Main Street. So it doesn't have a ton of outside of visibility. You'd have to be looking for it.
So if they decided to paint the building purple, we're not going to have a problem this time? Like,
Not unless Bay State Party Rental has a
All right,
problem.
We're hoping for sterling navy blue.
I like that better. I'm just,
Mr. Chairman, one more quick question.
Duffy.
So what is all the parking? What's all the vehicles that are in the back there?
We're not quite sure, because that's not part of this property, but I think that's part of the dealership on
I
Main Street there.
believe the last, because I've inquired a bit, I believe that parking lot behind the building may belong to the car dealers that are present on the main street.
Is there a Toyota dealership
Or
right
the
there?
dealership has
Yeah.
parking spaces.
Okay.
But
But if that space ever becomes available on the market, we'd be happy to expand the 159 property.
So speaking of that, do you own the lot?
Yeah.
The vacant lot next to you?
Yes, that's
Okay,
part of,
so
that's
that's all part
of
of
the property.
159?
Yep.
Okay. No plans for that?
Currently, no, but if we could get this building fully occupied, I'd be looking to, track some sort of break even on our initial investment here. And then if we could expand in the future, I'd like to do it here in this town, so.
So just one more question I have regarding fire safety. Any issues with fire department, and are they ever involved and brought in to, detect what you're doing internally as far as if they ever have to respond there in a case of an emergency? Minus 80 is pretty cold, so.
Yeah. The existing setup for the facility will be having minus 80 siloed in what is known as a freezer farm. So the actual units that will be used will be isolated units. You will be able to walk into the facility without issue. Aside from 24/7 monitoring of the facility by our own response team, the facility itself currently serves a tenant called Marine Polymers. And the setup that they have already meets most of the standards. We're having our architect and engineer actually review to ensure whether we need to expand any security functions on it. But as far as we've been told so far, we meet all the necessary and we should not be seeing any issues. And the fire department should not have any issues. I do believe the one major change internally, they have a steam boiler system for their autoclave that we will be removing.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest risk in there.
Good. Just want to cover all our bases, that's
Yes,
all. Just in the
of course.
event, it's kind of new to town, so Want to make sure the residents are covered and protected at all times.
I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
Thank you. I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
So the only thing I guess I would say, just feeding off Mr. Vitale, is, just for sort of safety standpoint, once you guys are getting, you got to get all your permits and all that anyways, but
Correct.
it might not be the worst thing to just, provide, a quick overview of your systems to both fire and to police, just so they understand, again, if what they're walking into, should they ever have to come on site. And, initially, it's just going to look like a storage facility, but obviously you have some specific specialties there that they may need to be aware of for your own purposes, and you're not, causing you a problem, but also for themselves, that they're not kicking down the wrong door and suddenly, somebody's frostbitten.
We're happy to
You
do
know.
it. We have a great relationship. So our headquarters is in Chelmsford, and we have a great relationship with fire and police there. During COVID, we actually took on a program with Sunoco ThermoSafe, where we had to get approval from the fire department to rig 4 40-foot containers into our building to provide 0 degree and -20 climate-controlled storage for, they kind of look like the freezer packs that you put in your lunchbox kind of thing.
Okay.
And so we would bring in, through a black light tunnel process to zap it for bacteria and things like that. And then they get loaded up onto bread trays, treated at 0 degrees for 12 hours, and then -20 degrees for 24 hours. And then we take them out, skid them up, and we put them on a climate-controlled truck down to their facility in Enfield, Connecticut. So we got that going. That was for packaging of medications all throughout the country, and the fire department helped us expedite that process. So we have a great relationship in Chelmsford, and we expect to do the same thing here.
Okay, very good. All right, with that, I'll open it up to the audience. Anyone in the audience with any questions, comments, or concerns on this? Seeing none. Ms. Lauder, is there anything we're missing?
I don't think so. I think the only recommended conditions here are that, building permits are required before business operations commence, even if no structural changes are required for the space, which these folks already know. Any exterior signage must comply with the zoning bylaw. A separate building permit is required for sign installation with accompanying electrical permits if they are to be backlit, and separate permits for the generators like we've discussed, and, an overview of the systems for public safety for any kind of specialty responses.
Okay. All right, so then with that, what is the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
I have a motion made. Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. As to the special permit as requested.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special permit.
All right, with the conditions as discussed this evening, I have a motion made. Do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Moving on to agenda item D, 485 Main Street, site plan review.
Good evening, board members.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, will you folks be waiving the public
Oh,
reading?
I apologize. Do I have a motion to waive the public reading?
So moved.
A motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those opposed, motion carries.
Okay.
Just give your names for the record, and the floor is yours.
George Atala from Labra Engineering and Design.
And Isra Ismail, civil engineer.
All right.
And we have the owner also as well, and his 2 daughters and the husband there. So thank you for your time. We are presenting this site plan review for an addition of a residential unit on top of an existing business on 485, which is the hair salon. I don't know if you know where it is. So the owner would like to build a residential unit on top of his hair salon for his daughter to live in, and their husband and the kid as well. So we prepared this site plan application. We also prepared architectural and structural drawings of how the building will look like, proposed. We provided that as well in the application. I don't know if you have any questions for us or...
We'll start with Mr. Champa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So generally, based on the peer review, it looks like there's quite a few issues to be addressed. Have you seen the peer review?
We looked at it. We were not expected to respond today or to the review comments per Alexander's email, but we looked at them, and most of them we'll be able to address them before the next meeting.
Yeah, generally, I just wanted to ask and maybe get a sense if you saw anything in there that was going to be a serious roadblock to the project, and also if you had a sense of how many things you might require waivers for.
We did not see any major issues with
So
the
because maybe the limitness of the site, kind of the site area is very limited, and we need to fit in parking lot, we need to fit in also the drainage system. And we prefer not to have a drainage system that is open like detention pond or something to address all the runoff coming from the extended building, because we are going to add some impervious area. So that's why we using underground chambers. In this case, we need to probably move that drainage system to the parking lot because we need to maintain at least 10 feet from the drainage system, from the boundary, and also from the foundation, the building foundation. So I think just probably we need to fit in all these stuff on site in a way that align with the bylaw requirements.
Okay.
But in general, we did not see any like roadblock, as you mentioned. It's just moving stuff around.
Seems like it was a lot of housekeeping issues, you know, putting scale on drawings,
Yes.
putting in dimensions between different points of reference, things like that.
Yes.
But, you know, obviously, there's a lot there. It can be daunting, so I just wanted to know if you'd had a chance to review it and address any issues that, again, might be critical or might require a waiver. I feel like it's always better to get those in front of us sooner rather than later, so that, because those are something that we consider in more detail.
We don't feel a waiver would be required for all these items, besides the small waivers from the zoning. I guess, I don't know that, Alexa, if you looked at them, but like the frontage and all this. But we did not feel that the comments will trigger any waiver requirements from planning board.
Okay, that's all I have for now, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Duffy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, a couple of quick things. I mean, I know there are some drainage issues that need to be certainly worked out with you and DPW, so I'm just going to kind of skip right over those. So those are things that you're going to have to get squared away. But I was looking at the plan, and I don't see really a description, as it mentioned in the GCG Associates report, about a first-floor dwelling. So somebody living there now on the first floor?
Well, there was a typo, actually. It's a business only on the first floor, and the basement, we're adding a floor on top.
So what about the other space, though, behind the two garages?
So the two garages, it will be an open space. So the business, right now, the existing business is a hair salon. It will be a bit smaller, and the remainder of the first floor will be garages and some open space. It's not going to be used. The second floor will be purely residential, on top of the garage and on top of the entire building.
But your application says that there was one residential unit on the first floor.
That's why it's a typo.
Is that a mistake?
Yeah, that was a misunderstanding. There's no residential right now there.
Okay. And it looks like that you're going to be looking for a number of variances as far as setbacks and so forth goes. So that's probably, when is that in the?
So once these,
Here.
sure, so once these folks have kind of been able to respond to all of the comments and make more of a finalization of where the drainage system's going to be and everything's kind of more set in stone and there's no more adjustments to be made to the placement of any of the addition or anything like that, then we'll know for sure the exact relief they need to go for to the ZBA.
Okay. Yeah, because I can't really, you know, so the two-car garage you want to add on the end, is that what I'm saying? With some space in behind the back of the garage that's going to kind of line up on the first floor?
Yeah. It's going to be a stairs in the back access to the first, like so the garage is a bit like maybe 4 feet lower than the slab of the existing building.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like stairs access to the business from
Yeah.
inside.
It probably would be good if the plans showed that, though, if we could, if that was something that we could take a look at
Sure,
to get a little more detail.
we have them in the architectural drawings that we submitted. I mean, I know it's too early, we did provide that early, probably it's not needed at this point, but we did prepare full architectural drawings. I would be happy to send them to you again.
Sure, it always helps when we can see like the elevations and with some measurements and so forth, so that would be very helpful.
Sure.
And I think that's all I have for now, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Fattalia?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to hold my comments until we get some of your issues resolved.
Okay.
I know you have a number of issues outstanding, so I'll hold off until next we see them. But I'm all set, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lazardi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just to confirm on the actual residential units, is there one overall unit that we're proposing here, or are there two?
One on top.
Just one.
Okay, so
That's
just
it.
one residential unit,
Just one
three-bedroom
residential
up
unit.
top. Okay.
Yeah.
And then kind of, I know there were some questions in the peer review. I just had one additional one kind of on the garage, and they might have called this out in the peer review as well. Is there enough space for the cars if they're backing in or out to turn around, or are they going to be coming out onto 38, backing out?
I believe there's,
So basically, that's what we need to try to maybe play with the area a little bit because, and also one of the requirements, now we have two entrances. One of the requirements is that because we have the frontage, it's just 100 feet. If you have less than 200 feet, then you need just one entrance. So probably we need to modify the design to have just one entrance and during, within this area, all the parking lot is going to be modified to maintain probably just one driveway with 24 feet. And this way we can have maybe the cars just, I think the most challenge here is that we have the garage, the proposed garage. We need to stay away from this garage and that's what we need to figure out how we're gonna do this because we don't wanna have any confrontation with the proposed garage.
Right.
But yeah, just we are going to remove one entrance and have just one entrance with, yeah,
All right, so y'all are going to kind of rework this whole parking area, get rid of
Yeah.
one of the curb cuts?
right.
Okay. All right, I think with that, that's my only questions here for today.
You all set? All right.
Yep.
So, I mean, not that, I mean, you still have to wait for you to come up with all your final, permutations for this, but if I'm looking at it, it looks like from the front of the garage to the street, it's almost 45 feet?
Yeah,
Okay. So, I mean, other than making a really, really bad decision to back all the way out of your garage and out into Main Street, you should be all right on site to get yourself squared away, I would think. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what you're driving, you come out of that garage, you still should have plenty of room
Yep.
before you have to head out.
Yep, there's enough space.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, like currently you have an in and out.
Circle.
And now, do they make you get rid of, is it DOT make you get rid of one of those entrances?
Was
or-
it one of the
Right
comments?
now, it
I
seems
think
like
one
a
of
pretty
GCG,
well,
yeah, the associate.
seems like it would work pretty well, what's there now.
Yeah, I was surprised a little bit to see that, but that's.
Yeah, they said because of the frontage is less than 200, then you just need one
Thank you,
entrance.
Mr. Chairman, sorry to interrupt.
But again, this,
I understand, like, it'd probably be convenient, but I can also understand why they'd want to limit it to the one, and, you could still have all your, it's just everybody will be doing all their driving on-site before they head out.
Yep.
But because if you do have customers leaving and the people in the house leaving, now you've got cars that are potentially going in two different directions, coming out in the same place, and what are you guys right across the street from?
Actually, I'm the hairdresser.
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah, but
You're gonna
you're not
speak
on the
into
microphone.
Thank you.
That work? No. Yeah, I'm the hairdresser. I have my hair salon now. I'm cutting down. So I have one chair, one client at a time. So by appointments only. So I don't have that much traffic.
Yeah, no, I understand
And-
that, but I mean, you got to remember
Yep.
too, like, when we do these, we
No,
also
it's
can't
way
think of it in
far.
terms of you're the only one who will ever be there forever and a day.
Yeah.
The place goes on after you're gone, so
Yeah.
we have to think about it, just what could happen. But I'm just thinking,
Correct.
it's the car dealership you're across from, right?
Yeah.
Across from you, the car dealership?
Toyota.
Kind of like.
Yeah, because we're doing
the
everything tonight
Toyota, yeah.
apparently in one area. Because
No,
the
they
other
have,
project was right
the
behind that.
entrance, it's little, like, end of my building.
Right.
Their
But I guess what
entrance
I'm getting
and-
at is the two driveways with people, and now you've got the car dealership on the other side with all the cars and/or customers coming out of there. I could see why also the idea of cutting it down to the one exit, an entrance, to cut down on the number of cars all trying to get out onto 38
Got you.
out of different driveways, is my guess. But, unless they want to, not force you to close it, I would suggest you're going to have to plan to do so. And then just work around that.
We apologize, we did not have enough time to respond to the peer review comments.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's why.
But in theory, I don't have an issue with the project itself. If you can make it work on site with, if there's reasonable requests for, relief to something for us, in theory, I have no problem with what you're presenting.
Thank you.
The only thing I would just pull, Mr. Vitale, only because you held your questions. You don't have an issue with the
No, I don't have any
theory, right?
issues at all,
Okay.
but I mean, you have so many outstanding issues
Yes.
that need to get resolved with DPW, zoning, and all the other small little issues that have to get resolved. There's no sense bringing small stuff up now, you know what you got to do, and if not, they'll tell you. If you do drawings, maybe if you do a rendering to show us what you really want to do as far as the second floor and so
We can,
forth,
yeah.
and how the driveway's going to work, it makes it a lot easier for us, so.
Sure.
And
Yep.
you have a whole month until you have to come back in again, so
Okay.
I know you need some time to get all the work done, so hopefully
Was
we'll
it
see you in
December 14,
December.
your next
December
meeting?
16th.
Yeah, the meeting's,
December 16th.
yeah, the meeting's December 16th.
If we didn't finish by then, can we just let you know?
So ideally, to have a subsequent review of the revision, we'd like to see it about 2 weeks before. So if
2
you can
weeks.
submit it to me on or around December 2nd. And if you're starting to get close, just let me know. I can reach out to
I'll
the
let
peer
you know.
reviewer just to check on their workload to see what kind of the drop dead date is for that submission.
Okay.
And if you needed more time, you can always continue it to our next meeting, so.
All right, with that, I'll open it up to the audience. Anyone in the audience, any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
We'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to continue the hearing until December 16th.
At 7:10.
7:10?
Yep.
Second.
We have a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. All right, we'll see you at our next meeting, unless you need more time, then let us know.
Thank you,
Great,
members of
thank
the
you.
board. Good night.
All right, that moves us to agenda item correspondence. There was no correspondence in our packet, so we will move to other business not known at the time of the posting of this agenda. Does anybody have any such things they wish to discuss?
Nothing here, Mr. Chairman.
All set.
Seeing none, that brings us to a motion for adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
I have a motion made. Do I have a second? Motion made and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. We'll see you on the 16th.